Welcome to Pain Falls. I'm getting myself into more trouble. So Sandy Miller here. So this should have happened last fall, and show season was on, and it never happened. It is January 14th. It is 51 degrees out in Zone 5, Ohio, and I thought it'd be a good time to dig out this Henry Lauder's walking stick. The root ball is huge. It's probably going to take me most of the afternoon to do this. So if you want to see who wins, tree might win today. Come on back and see if I'm in the trenches. Anyway, stop back later. We'll talk about who wins. I won. It's good to know, isn't it? Old people can still do things. Anyway, this is the back corner of the property. This is a pretty sizable root ball. I'm going to chip off most of the dirt and leave it in the ground and not haul it off site because it's really good dirt. And then I'm going to prep this ground with leaves and throw some mulch over it, and hopefully raspberries will go in here early spring and we'll get a crop to eat by next fall. I'm really hoping. So I'm going to put heritage in probably. They seem to do the best here. I also have champagne raspberries that don't do as well, but it is a gorgeous January day, so get out and do something. I also wanted to say, never go into your yard without a full complement of tools at your disposal. So you have pruners and the full butt complement, sickle and a hoary. And as long as you have those things, you can get an awful lot of work done in your yard. Well, I'm a wee bit tired. So all I have is a Japanese pruning saw, just the same tools I had in the other video, and I'm going to walk you around the property and show you exactly how much you can do yourself. You don't need to hire a guy. You can do this all yourself. I'm 65, and all I have are an extended pruner saw and a pair of loppers. This is all going to be put on my wood piles, so I was really happy to get it done today because I think it's really important to get it done today because it's warm, and then I can come out here in the middle of winter if it turns really cold or snowy, and I can break all this down and get it into good piles of kindling and small wood, and really nice. We heat the back of our house with wood fire, and this is the right size to put in our wood stove to get it going in the morning. So this is great. Well, the weather changed significantly. Welcome to Pain Falls. Don't get bored. So anyway, I got my pruning done, and all of the limbs have been sawed up and stacked in piles. So I'll do a little bit more pruning. We have a winter storm coming in tonight, so I want to get a few things done quickly. I was so happy I came out. I checked on the garlic this afternoon. My garlic is sprouted and it's coming through the leaves. I had mulched it. This is all garlic. I think I put in 175 bulbs. Next to the garlic are blueberries. This is the back area. I have my property divided into 3 sections. The foundation plantings, middle earth, which is where there's another pretty substantial vegetable garden, and then this back area, and I call this the back 40, although it's really not. But this is all deer proofed. So anything the deer or the groundhogs would eat, I plant behind this fence. Everything else that's up front is pretty much whoever gets it. I hope I get it first, but sometimes that doesn't always happen. So this year I'll be covering, I'm going to redo my chicken coop, so we'll get into that. This should be a fun year. I won't be potting as much this year as I will be doing urban landscaping, edible landscaping. I'm in a town of about 17,000. We're pretty tight with each other, so I have to be careful with what I do. But I watch a lot of other YouTube channels, and a lot of other YouTube channels, it looks like a farm. I don't want my property to look like that. I want it to look landscaped. I come from the landscape industry, and I'm slowly converting from ornamentals to edibles, and they are pretty closely interchangeable. So on this side of the garden, I have paniculata hydrangeas, pink diamond, there's a viburnum, there's an excordia, a magnolia, and I've already started interplanting with a plum tree, a honeycrisp apple. The deer ate the cherry tree to the ground. I've since protected everything. There's also a bay laurel that I'm leaving because the bay laurel perfumes this whole back area, and sometimes scent wins out over eating. So that is going to stay. I'm going to prune that up today. So even though it's winter, there's an awful lot to get done in the garden. My compost pile is frozen solid, so there won't be any compost turning over winter, but there's a lot of other stuff to do. So I'm walking around pruning. This is some of the deer damage I've incurred just this year. So this whole area, we have some pretty large bucks in the area who are choosing to sharpen their antlers. I'm going to leave this in. This is a main leader, and I'll put a piece of fence around it. They're done sharpening their antlers for this season, so this tree will probably survive. But there's some other areas on this tree that need to be pruned out. It's a magnolia. I will not prune it until after it blooms, and I'm going to tighten it up pretty tight because the plum tree, Italian plum, is right there, prunus. I'd like to give that a lot more room to flourish and cut back. This is Magnolia Betty. It's a small miniature magnolia, so it's not going to get gigantic. It's supposed to be small. But anyway, we have deer. What are you going to do? Well, I just thought I'd show you a little more deer damage. This is a Camasiferous. They've worked on this. This is about 3 years damage. I should have fenced it. I wasn't crazy about the plan. I knew I was going to be replacing this back area, so I let them go. But if don't plant Camasiferous if you've got deer, because boy, it's like hors d'oeuvres. So this is the back third. This is the property line, and I tried to plant this for screening. The azaleas are not doing as well as I had hoped they would do, so I last year went in and planted asparagus all along this bed. And asparagus is great. It's great screening. It grows 6 feet tall. It's feathery. It's beautiful, and you can eat it. There are holly bushes here. The deer also eat holly bushes. They eat everything. So the azaleas are probably going to get pulled, and blueberries will go in here this year. I have blueberries in the fence because I wanted to cover them because of the birds, but they're great They're ornamental. They turn red in the fall. They're a 3-season small shrub that I think you can work to your advantage. But the Camasiferous will all get pulled. The hollies I'm going to cut back to get them away, and then this entire edge, when the azaleas are gone, this will all be asparagus. So there's an awful lot you can do with borders, and this gets pretty heavy shade, and I have maple trees that are my neighbors that are heavy feeders, so I have to be careful with what I put, but asparagus is a good alternative to putting ornamental shrubs in this area. Cornus, it's Siberica. It's beautiful when the deer don't sharpen their antlers on it. So these will be cut back to the ground. The rootstock is still good, and these will be transplanted up closer to the house. The deer tend to stay away from the house, so this whole bed will be reshaped. To the right of me, these are all azaleas. This will all be asparagus next year, and then I'll figure out someplace else to put the azaleas where they might be a little happier, because they're not very happy right now. But they will get moved after they bloom, and they will get pruned after they bloom. So mid to late spring is when those will get bumped. Kirby and I just got back in. The fire feels really good because it's about 20 degrees outside. So we're starting to look at what we're putting in the garden for this year. I do a lot of companion planting. We're looking at chickens. Chickens I'm hoping to bring in the spring and really get some projects going. So I will put pen to paper and we'll start planning the garden hopefully to start putting things in sooner than later. But anyway, that's what we did this week in Payne Falls. Busy week.